What's good, y'all? It's your boy Sean Peter Blunt guy. Hey! Today we are doing another Berserk chapter read through, and today we will be reading chapter 16. Or for those people who read this through the novels or some other way, I read through the apps, But if you read this through the novel or some other way, this is the Golden Age arc chapter 8. So yes, sir. But before I get into it, make sure you guys hit that like button and also subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. Also follow me on Twitch so you could catch me while I'm live and chat it up with me. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and join the Discord, especially if you want to get at me. The best place to interact with me is going to be the Discord. Also, if you want to be part of future streams, be a part of the Discord. All of these will be in the link or in the description box below. Anyway, let's get to it. All right, so we get this big page spread, and we're looking at the castle walls from the inside, and we see all the mercenaries just passed out after a night of fun and celebration of their victory after that that sneak attack they did on the enemy camp and destroying their equipment, their provisions, the ammo, all that stuff, and getting away with it. And they also celebrate the new recruit Guts. A double page spread with Guts holding his sword back on top of the wall. That's where he's comfortable with his sword, on top of the wall. And it says the Golden Age chapter 8. Beautiful page spread. Beautiful. Just, man, the artwork on here is just, sometimes it's a little lazy, but I get it. When you have such great cover, like when you have such great artwork, sometimes you gotta, skimp out on like the less important pages. So I get it. I'm not mad at it, because when they go in on the art, they go in on the art. The art. The art. So yeah, we got Guts looking out, and he looks back down at the camp, the mercenary camp, and he's sitting there thinking about like the night he had with the band of the Hawk, and how they were so welcoming and accepting to him. Guts never really had this. This is new territory for Guts. Like even when he was with Gambino always kind of treated him bad. He kind of was always pretty nasty towards Guts, and that was before he tried to kill Guts. He was always pretty harsh. Plus, we know, even though some of the guys in that mercenary group was okay, he wasn't ever really close to any of them. He never was close to any of them. And then, you also had the moment with Donovan that was traumatizing for Guts. That was traumatizing for him. But now it's almost like he's in a group where he feels as though he belongs, or at least that's what he seemed like he's warming up to. He's thinking about it. He still probably has reservations because it's hard for him to trust people, but man, but it's some beautiful art, man. I'm just sitting there looking and thinking. So we got Judo. Look like he's stepping on one of the guys sitting on the steps, but he's walking up towards Guts, and he says, "You're up early. You must really like high places, don't you?" And then he like jumps on like the post right in front of Guts, and he says, "Oh," he says, "Want some?" And Guts says, "No thanks." Judo says, "So how about the band of the Hawk?" Gus says, "How?" And Judo says, "Think you'll fit in?" I'm liking Judo, man. I'm liking Judo. But something tells me, just based off of how a lot of these characters are, it seemed like Judo could betray Guts. Maybe not now, but It seemed like Guts might eventually warm up the judo, only for judo to do some snake stuff. I'm hoping, because I like judo so far. I'm liking judo. Ever since he was introduced, I was like, he seems pretty cool. He seems like a carefree guy that is cool as well. But you never know. You never know. Gus says, I don't know. Hard to say. And Judo just listens. And Gus says, it's kind of weird. Mercenary bands are never much different. They're savage, made up mostly of rogues and men with shady pasts, you know. I was surprised by how young everyone here is, but that's not all. He says, here is different somehow. And then Judo says, I guess, maybe. Well, a little variety is good even for mercenary bands. We've got escaped prisoners, street urchins, sons of blacksmiths, and even second sons of poor aristocrats in ours. Yep. And Judo says, but if anything, maybe it's Griffith, I'd say. Those who've been completely charmed by Griffith, those who figure as long as they stick with Griffith, they'll get to see great things. Anyway, all of us are here because of his charisma. Man, it's almost like if you didn't know how Griffith was going to end up being, you know, like he was going to be part of God Hand and pretty much a demon. It's like if we got this before we got that, it's like it would be like hard to accept Griffith as being a eventual traitor or whatever despicable thing he did to become part of God Hand. You know, like you like, man, you would fall in love with the Griffith character. But like for me right now, it's like, and this is not because of spoilers and anything. It's just because when we were introduced to Griffith, it, like chronologically in the story, he was God Hand, a demon of the bad sort, right? And Guts looked at him as an enemy. So if we didn't get that first, it would be harder to accept Griffith as this evil guy, you know? Because he seems like a caring guy. He seems cool. How his band loves him. I'm just saying, man. I feel like maybe they shouldn't have introduced Griffith the way they did. But hey, I'm gonna let the writing happen. You know, I'm gonna let because I already know he's going to be bad eventually. I already know he's going to be bad eventually. So it's just like I already know where this is going. But yeah, Judo says on his own, no one of us is any big deal, no different from any other mercenary. It's just that unlike other mercenaries who are so hardened, they think only about money and their own survival. We're a little different. Around here, while we do spend every blood-filled day killing and being killed, it's strange, but we can also cry, laugh, get angry, whatever. Gus is just listening, and he says, Griffith, what kind of guy is he? Judah says, I don't know. And Gus says, yet you're all charmed by him. Judah says, whoa, hold on, just listen. How can I put this? Just when you think it looks like he's got some strange wisdom, he seems just like a kid. Just when you think he has a spine-chilling look on his face, he smiles innocently like a baby. Is he a child or an adult? A good guy or a villain? I don't know. Really. Or I don't really know what he is. And Guts is thinking about Griffith's two sides, where he got one like innocent face and then one like almost evil looking face. Judo says, but something about him is different from us. There are things that simple mercenaries like us only hear about in absurd drinking tales, things that he would think of and do like they were nothing. I can't really describe it. It's not just his swordsmanship and his tactics. Ordinary people like us don't understand Griffith. It might take him longer than a lifetime to achieve it. But I guess he must have some kind of conviction. Guts is thinking to himself, conviction. Then he says, in what? Judo says, in everything. It's not whether he's a good guy or a bad guy. It's not whether we really know him or not. Isn't that just how it is when a man gathers other men together? Guts is just listening, and then another guy comes up the steps and says, hey, new guy, the boss is calling you. And Guts grabs the sword and walks off and says, see ya. And then Judo says, Guts, I'm sure you'll find it here, the place where you belong. And then Guts just looks back at him. So Guts is walking through the streets, and then he looks in shop, and then we see Griffith bathing himself, very naked. And then he says, woo! And Guts looks uncomfortable with that. He's like, okay. Griffith says, hi. He says, come to join me. It's the best way to sober up. Gus says, I'll pass. And then Griffith grabs a bucket of water. And he says, come on, don't be that way. And he says, I'll cut it out, moron. We ain't kids. And then he splashes Guts with the bucket of water. And then Gus says, jerk. And Griffith is laughing. Ha 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 ha. What a face. Guts grabs a bucket of water. And Griffith says, oh. And then he throws it at Griffith. But I think Griffith manages to dodge it. He says, whoop, not quite. But then he still gets splashed because Guts had like another bucket right in the tuck and catches him with it. We see Griffith looking there, like looking down, playing with his hair, twirling his hair. Oh man, this is looking a little like looking like some bromance going on, man. There's some bromance going on. We see two buckets getting dipped in water. So we see Guts and Griffith throwing water at each other. Oh man, this is seeming more and more like a bromance, I'm telling you. Like this is just foreplay right here. We see Judo above him. He says, a lot of energy this early. And then we see the buckets of water like fall to the ground. And Guts and Griffith seems like they're tired, they're spent from their little escapade. They're sitting on like the well. Griffith says, that was good morning exercise. Woo! And then we see Guts grab the bucket and pour it right on Griffith's head. And he says, what? And Griffith says, Guts, why you? And then Guts says, now we're even. And he says, pooh. And Griffith starts laughing. Ha 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 ha. Okay, I give up. You really are stubborn, you know. Guts looks down at like Griffith's necklace. And Griffith says, what? Griffith says, that's a weird necklace. And Griffith says, oh, is that a Behelit? Hold on. Is that a Behelit? It looked kind of like a Behelit. It kind of looked like a Behelit. That is a Behelit. It looks much smaller though. It looks much smaller than the other Behelit we seen. Because we get a full page spread of the Behelit up close. This whole time he had a Behelit and I ain't even noticed. Well, I mean, I guess they ain't really put any emphasis on showing it. Griffith says, I bought this from an old gypsy fortune teller ages ago. The Behelit, also called the egg of the king. You see, it said that whoever possesses it, or whoever possesses this, is destined to obtain the world in exchange for his own flesh and blood. Gus says, the world? The world, though. The world, though. Uh-oh. This right here, is giving me Dio Brando vibes right now. Talking about possessing the world. The world, though. Griffith is like Dio Brando from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures for anybody who do not know who Dio is. And Griffith throws the Behelit at Guts, and Guts is checking it out. And the eye opens. And Guts is like shocked. You know, it scares the hell out of Guts. And he throws it right back at Griffith. He says, Griffith says, I don't know what makes it do that, but it's almost like it's alive. Gus says, that's creepy. Man, it's just giving me vibes that Griffith might have all this already planned out, man. Like he's building these attachments so when it's time to activate this Behelit, he can get rid of these attachments. That's kind of what I'm feeling. I could be wrong. Nobody spoiled that for me, but it's just the vibe I'm getting. It's just the vibe I'm getting. Griffith says, neat, huh? And then Guts looks and then he's thinking, he really is tough to read, but probably just a kid. Guts says, I still haven't heard your answer. And Griffith says, during the battle. Why'd you come back to save me? Guts says. Griffith says, having acquired such an excellent soldier, I didn't want to lose him in such a petty battle. Griffith stands up and says, Guts, come along with me. And then Griffith says, this is more than a single step. The band of the Hawk, all the victories on the battlefield are just the outset. This is where it starts to get interesting. You can bet your life on that. I will get my own kingdom. Griffith is just standing naked over Guts. Like, Guts, man, get up, man. You can't be letting this man stand over you naked like that. Guts is like covering his eyes because, I guess the sun is in his eyes as Griffith is like standing in the light. And Griffith says, you will fight for me because you belong to me. I mean, that was technically the agreement, right? That was technically the agreement. We see like some birds look like doves just flying, like the silhouette of birds flying above Guts and Griffith. And Griffith says, I would decide the place where you die. That's giving me, he already planned to sacrifice him to the Behelit. That's the vibes I'm getting. All of this seemed like it was already thought out from Griffith. Seemed like it was already pre-thought out. Then we get shot of the town with a bunch of birds and silhouettes. Like white silhouettes. And then we see Guts looking on like a little pier where you see some water. And he's thinking to him, he's throwing a rock in the water. He says, get his own kingdom. Ha. Is he for real? And then he's thinking, he's not nobility or royalty. He's not even a knight. So the commander of maybe 500 mercenaries is going to snatch up his own kingdom. The punk said all that like it's just a matter of course. He's about the same age as me. Can just one man, then he says out loud, mean it? When he says that, he looks at his reflection in the water and says, he's crazy. And Guts looks at this little insect flying in the sky. He thinks to himself, what have I been doing these past 4 years? Running around from one battlefield to the next. We see Guts killing a bunch of soldiers. And he says, killing enemies, just surviving. And then we see Gambino. Guts looks a little, upset. Guts still thinking to himself, where am I going? I still don't have the answer to that question, Gambino. And then we see, I guess somebody's knocking on that door, and we see Rickard like bust through the door, and he says, "Sir, Guts, sir." And Guts gets sent off of the steps into the water that he gets sent off the steps that he was standing on into the water, and he says, and Guts falls into the water, and Guts says, "What's the big idea?" Rickard says, I'm sorry. I thought I'd come congratulate you. I heard you had 10 men placed under your command. That's amazing. It hasn't even been 2 weeks since you joined us. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 100 men in a year. And Gus says, this has been one wet day. Rickard reaches out to Guts and says, now you've really earned a place in the band of the Hawk. congratulations. And then Guts looks at him, and then he's thinking to himself, for now. Then he says, just call me Guts. Guts reaches his hand out to Rickard. We see Rickard pulling up Guts, and he's like, ugh. And then Pippin arrives and accidentally pushes Rickard and Guts back into the water. And Guts is thinking to himself, yeah, for now. And then we see Casca like on top of the walls looking down at him. And they say, Pippin, you fathead blorg. So we see some horses like trotting along some grass, and we see a bunch of like some soldiers headed somewhere. I'm assuming these are like the cavalry of the enemies. I'm assuming that. We get a double page spread of like one army charging towards another army. So now I guess some time has moved forward because we have Griffith fully armored with, I want to say that's Casca behind him. And I think that might be, I don't think that's Guts to the right. But yeah, Griffith and his men behind him. And he raises his hand, I guess, in order to advance. And the band of the Hawk advances. We see Guts leading his own platoon of men. And then he lowers his face mask. So we get a double page spread with Guts on horseback leading his own group. And that was the Golden Age, chapter 8, end. Hey, so good chapter, right? We get the aftermath of the party. We got a nice little conversation between Judah or Judo and Guts. And, you know, Judo is pretty much telling Guts about Griffith. Like, hey, you know, we don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy or what, but it's just something about him that's just alluring, right? Like, one minute he's serious, next minute he's childlike. And, you know, we see Guts and Judo. I think Judo is the first person, maybe other than Griffith, that Guts has really warmed up to. Because even back at the camp, when after his fight with Griffith, like, Judo was the first person to really talk to Guts in a very friendly manner and kind of tell Guts, like, you know, hey, Casca mad at you or whatever. So Judo was really the first person to be open with Guts, you know, and be welcoming, you know. But yeah, so we see them talk, and then Guts is pretty much summoned by Griffith, who was taking a bath, and Griffith and Guts is having their little bromance thing going on, throwing water at each other. And as they talk, right? As they talk, Guts also asks Griffith, like, hey, why did you save me? You never answered my question. And Griffith's like, look, you know, I don't want to waste my best man and my newest guy in such a frivolous battle, right? You know, you would die when I want you to die, I guess. You know, you would die in the place that I see fit for you to die. Which was a little telling about Guts's or Griffith's character for me. You know, to me, it was like a little foreshadowing. And then what made it even more foreshadowing is the fact that we learned that Griffith owns a Behelit. And I think he called it the King Behelit. So it might be more of a special Behelit, you know, than the other Behelit that we seen. I don't know. But I think he called it the King Behelit or something along that line. He says that, you know, he also tells Guts, like, hey, my goal is to have a kingdom. And, you know, which is all good. So, you know, they leave that conversation. Guts goes off into this little boat area, you know, like a little spot where you would park a boat to do some thinking. And he's just thinking, like, you know, hey, you know, he's thinking about Gambino, you know, thinking about his plate, finding his place in this new band of mercenaries. that's when Rickard shows up and say, "Hey, Guts, congratulations." After accidentally throwing him in the water, he says, "Congratulations! I heard that you are a leader among your own group of men. You know, Congratulations." And then Pippin shows up and throws both of them in the water. And then fast forward, we are at a new battle. We are on a new battlefield. Guts has his group of men at his charge, and Griffith is charging the band of the Hawk towards this battle. And that pretty much was the chapter. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Also subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. Follow me on Twitch so you can catch my live streams live. Also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And join the Discord. Come be a part of the community. That's where I'm the most active in the Discord if you want to engage with me. So come be a part of it. Anyway, y'all, it's your boy Sean P, the Blunt Guy, and I'm out of here. Peace.